As you know, we live off-grid, and I say off-grid, a lot of people disagree. No, you don't live off-grid because you live close to a road, or you have internet. But my analogy of off-grid is I don't need electric from the electric company. I don't need water from the water company. I don't need food. I can produce my own, although we do go get food. So we live this very minimalistic life. And I kind of boil my life down to the 4 essentials of survival, if you think about it: shelter, water, food, and defense. And we really don't have a lot more than that. Now, you could say we have internet, that's totally legit. So that's not a need, though. That's something that I have to have, 1, for work, my YouTube channel, and 2, just entertainment. I suppose we could get entertainment from books. We watch Netflix, Amazon Prime from 5 to 7 p.m. So our needs are just very minuscule. So we run a freezer. That's the biggest portion of our electric usage. Now, as you know, we can our food. But if something were to happen, SHTF, as those preppers call it, SHTF, stuff hits the fan, then we would just can all our food. We'd probably run the freezer until everything got canned up. We can can about 40 jars a time. So that's 40 meals for us, about 40 pounds of food. I think we have just like under 200 pounds in the freezer. So it'd take a few days. And then once that was done, we could shut the freezer off. The other big energy consumer we have is the well. But it seems that no matter how much I address my life, and the reason we do it, and it's not to be prepared for anything, people come on my channel and tell me that I'm a prepper and that I need to start addressing the prepping mindset. Because, you know, the economy is going bad and there's wars going on. It's just, they always have a reason why I need to be a prepper. The thing is I feel like that I'm mostly prepared for anything that could come. I mean, mostly. One thing that I don't think I could overcome too easily with any types of hoarding, prepping stuff is a tornado. If a tornado wiped out the house, anything I had in it would be gone. So I don't understand the mentality of you got to stockpile, 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 just so one little tornado could come through and destroy everything. If anything, I think the best prep you could have is to be debt-free. Have some sort of savings somehow or another. I mean, we save our money back. Now people are going to say, oh, there's the economics is in terrible shape and you need to buy gold. And I've given you my theories on gold that once SHTF happens, gold is going to be worthless. Now you could say that they're going to come out with a digital currency, and once you have digital currency, then you're going to have gold. And well, they've outlawed gold before. If they really want us to go to a digital currency so they can control our spending habits, then I'm sure they'll just outlaw gold again like they did the last time. Well, but you can hoard gold and then bury it and they won't ever come and get it. Well, then you can't spend it. So the whole gold mindset to me is just wishful thinking. Anytime I talk about prepping or preppers and how I just don't feel like that prepping is the way to go, I always get commenters in the comment section and they're always angry. I mean, just angry. And I notice that with YouTube preppers too. They're just furious about everything. And nothing makes them happy. Today I watched a video and he said, got some good news for you. And he was even angry about the good news. Said, I don't see the point in this. And so why even present good news if you're just going to be angry? I remember we had this one subscriber way back when we lived in a pop-up camper, 6 years ago? He was a good subscriber, and then he just disappeared for the longest time. Didn't hear anything from him. Years. And then I was talking about how prepping may not be the best suited thing. There are better options out there, which I'm going to cover in this video. And he got so mad. Well, you're just trying to throw subscribers away, aren't you? Going to do nothing but infuriate them. And the thing is preppers shut down as soon as you tell them to stop being a prepper and start being something else, which, again, I'm going to cover here in a minute. Reasonably thinking, I know why they don't want to hear it. They have just spent thousands, maybe tens of thousands of dollars being prepared, and I just told him in one sentence how it doesn't matter if you're prepped or not. The other day I made a video and I talking about mental preparation is important to be a prepper. If you cannot handle 90 or 100 degree heat, you got to have an air conditioner, then you're not prepared for anything. Because one of the first things you're going to have to do in an SHTF situation, or even in a outage, is do without air conditioning. Oh, I got a generator, I can run an air conditioning. Okay, how long? How long is your generator gonna run? Remember, your gas station, it's gonna be out of electricity too, so let's go with 2 weeks. Now, I know that when Dad went through a hurricane, he had a generator, but he didn't run the air conditioner, and he said it was one of the most miserable things he has to do when he goes through a hurricane is do without the air conditioner for 2 weeks. I remember one time my grandma's power went down for a few weeks. Storm came through, knocked it out. And it wasn't one of these rare events. I mean, it happens all the time. Power goes out for a few weeks until they can get everything repaired. One of her neighbors ran an air conditioner on a generator and ended up losing a bunch of food. They could have ran the refrigerator off the generator, but instead they ran it off their air conditioner, trying to stay cool, and lost all their food. So here you are, you're prepared. You got all your preps, you got the generator, but you can't handle the heat long enough to save the thing that you prepped, which was the food. So what was the point in preparing if the first power outage, you lose it all? Just look at my life and I say, could I handle this situation or that situation? And it seems like I can handle most everything except when a tornado knocks out my house, and then, like I said, I'm debt free, I'll just build a new one. It really isn't that big of a deal. Now, when I say I just build a new one, think about that for a minute. If your house was knocked down, you'd have to go through an insurance company. Is an insurance company a prep? What if they say no? No, we're not going to buy you a new house. You live in a floodplain and your house flooded. So there's a million reasons why they could say, no, we're not going to build you a new house. Or you have a wood stove. I know a lot of insurance companies won't insure you if you have a wood stove. So you have a fire, burns all your preps. The insurance company comes in and says, we're not going to cover you. You've got a wood stove. I had insurance. I was robbed twice. And my insurance company dropped me because I was robbed so many times. So insurance companies are not a prep. They're out there to make money. They're not in there to give you money if something goes wrong. You just pay them. I mean, it's a Ponzi scheme in my mind. You are paying an insurance company with them gambling on the idea that you'll never take your money back. Somebody else will have a catastrophe and they use your money to pay off their damages. So it's just a Ponzi scheme, and you know, Ponzi schemes are illegal until the government says it's okay. So I insure myself. Now, how do I insure myself? If I had a $200,000, $300,000 home, I couldn't insure myself. So I downsized my life. I got down to something I could insure myself, $5,000 for my little tiny house. If it burns down or a tornado comes through, no problem. I mean, it's absolutely no problem. You know what? I don't even have to file a claim through the insurance company and hope and pray that they'll give me a check to replace my home. All I got to do is start building again, or I can go to Home Depot and pick up one of those sheds and start over. If your house is wiped out by a tornado, you're not prepared. If my house is wiped out by a tornado, I'm prepared. Now, I already live in a state of preparedness. Even though I don't consider myself a prepper, I'm prepped. I don't have air conditioning. So when summer hits and the town loses electric, I don't even notice. I didn't have air conditioning before the electric went out, and I don't have air conditioning after the electric went out. I just have trees over my house and it kind of keeps me cool. And we adapt to the situation. So mental preparedness. Hey, I watched this prepper today, and he talks about how hard he works all the time, but then, oh, I'm sore, which tells me he only works once a year. So you have to be physically in shape. You have to be mentally prepared. That more people die from the winter elements than the summer elements. It's easier to stay cool in the winter by simply drinking water. Your body is designed to stay cool. But in the winter, if you get wet and you're outside, you could die in temperatures as low as 40 or 50 degrees. With a wind chill, a little breeze, and you're wet. I watched Survivor Man one time, and he stayed in a cool room without a shirt on, and he was wet, and he went into hypothermia like within 10 minutes. So what we're doing in the house with the wood stove is if the temperatures go below freezing, we start the wood stove at nighttime. We don't allow the house to get below about 65 degrees. And the reason is because we got to keep our water thawed out. I've explained the whole ventilation goes into the water tank, the whole thing. So when it's below freezing, 65 degrees is our limit. But when the temperatures are above freezing and we know the water isn't going to freeze, we don't light the wood stove at night. And the temperatures can get down in 50 degrees in the house. So I get up in the morning, I start the wood stove, brings temperature back up. This is how you mentally prepare. If you're actually living a life where if something were to happen, you wouldn't notice the difference. So let's assume for a minute that your house lost electric for a month, 2 weeks, a month, whatever it is, in the middle of winter. Temperatures are dropping down to 35 degrees. Your house temperature drops down to 50 degrees. Could you actually handle those kind of temperatures at nighttime? As a prepper, have you actually tried to do this on a regular basis? When you go to bed, as long as the house doesn't get below freezing, because you don't want your water pipes to freeze, shut off the heater. And then when you get up in the morning, turn it back on. That's how you start to prepare. Because it's not about your stuff. You can have all the stuff in the world, and if you're not alive to use it or in a condition to be able to use it, those things don't matter. So the way I see prepping is not by going out and spending millions of dollars or thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars on stuff to hoard it just in case something happens. My idea of prepping is to minimize your life. Get all the waste out of it. If you really think about it, if it wasn't for your house, you don't need to prep. If you don't have to worry about keeping that house functioning, then you don't need to prep. And that's exactly the way it is for us. I don't have to worry about keeping that house to function. I get up in the morning, I start the wood stove, and temperatures like this, I won't have to start it again until tomorrow morning, so 24 hours. In the wintertime, I light it about 3 times a day. That's all I have to do to maintain my home. Everything else maintains itself. I have nothing to worry about. If we lose electric long-term in this area and we can't get gasoline for the generators anymore, I would shut off the freezer. That's the one thing that I have to make sure we have enough electricity for. If I shut those off, can all my food, we could live indefinitely. Then we get these eggs. This is one of the biggest preps I think you could have, is stop buying groceries or minimize the amount of groceries you have to buy. If you could produce your own food. Now, when I say this, people talk about a garden, but a garden cannot sustain you. I don't care how big your garden is, could produce enough food to sustain you for an entire year. Whereas my chickens can. My chickens can sustain me all year long. All I got to do is grow flower seeds, about 50 pounds. Then we sprout them. I've showed you how to sprout them in the jars. That produces 250 pounds of food, protein for the chickens. So you got to get away from the mindset that you're going to be a vegan prepper because you can't produce enough food to do it. But if you figure out a way to produce meat, you don't need as many calories. I can't explain it. I don't know the science behind it, but calories are not the same between vegetables and meat. So if you click this up next box, take to a video where I was talking about can't use propane anymore. So if I can inspire you to stop thinking like a prepper and start thinking like an off-gridder so you can actually be prepared. So you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.